Official podcast of Whitstable Town FC, whose main club sponsor is Fibertech UK Limited. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Belmont Banter. And this week we've got a special guest for you. It's Stuart King. How you doing, Kingy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
We were talking off air a while ago about you still playing football, so you haven't hung your boots up yet.
No, I've tried a few times, but you know, you got to try and keep playing, and yeah, sort of at Rising Sun on Sundays at the moment, which is all the lads that I grew up with. Really, we've got some of the young uns coming through now, and yeah, they're sort of putting us to shame because they can keep running all the time. So, yeah.
What about Vets football? Because I was speaking to Marcus Perona a while ago, and he's very involved with Vets football.
Yeah, I've not been around a long time, but I am still only 33.
Wow, you're a baby still.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so no, unfortunately, I'm not old enough. So I train with a Vets team on a Wednesday night. I think they're called Slayers, and unfortunately, I think they can only have, I think it's 34, 35. You can have a couple in your team, but Jack Delo and Stacey Davis are there too that have been there for quite a while. So I do the training on a Wednesday, which is good. It's good when we're allowed to do so, obviously. So.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Yeah, work-wise now for you, I don't want to take you back too far into something that really was a bad situation for you, but the other side of it, you've come out brilliantly, because when you got your really nasty hand injury, you were a scaffolder, and I shouldn't think you had any thought in your head of doing what you're doing now.
No, you know, I was a builder, but yeah, you're right. I was up a scaffold. Yeah, no, it's been quite a change. Yeah, I was quite young when I first did the first injury, and unfortunately, due to an operation not being successful and a few other bits, it took 5 other operations to repair it all. So, yeah, during that time, towards the end of it, when I was facing another big operation, I sort of made a decision to try and change my career, you know, to give me something money-wise, and also, like, you know, have an opportunity at something, because I had a skill that I went to college and learned. I could always fall back on it, but the injury was pretty bad. I never really spoke about it to anyone. You know, I just got my head down and carried on. But yeah, no, I did, and touch wood, you know, I've worked hard, and it's going well.
Good, I'm pleased for you. And you only live around the corner from me, and I often see you walking your dog. What's her name?
His name, Rocky. He's a beagle. Yeah.
His name.
Good,
good.
Yeah.
He's the
most un-Rocky-like dog ever, though. He's so soft.
All right, let's do what I normally do. Let's start at the beginning of football for you, because this is a bit of a journey. And one of the things that I find so fascinating is that your family and friends, they know all about you now. A lot of them don't know about the young Stuart King and how you first got into football. And they certainly don't know about the different clubs you played for, the different experiences you went through. So it's your time to sort of tell your own story, really. So how old were you when you first got into football?
I remember probably as far back as about 3 or 4 going to watch my brother, because I've got 3 older brothers. And Danny, the eldest, he played for Concord Rangers in Thanet. I think they were called Red Arrows at one point as well. And I used to go down there, and then they started letting me get involved in a bit of training, just doing a bit of the balls around the cones. But yeah, no, I didn't really get properly into football. I always was playing it and watching my brother and stuff, but probably till I was about 7 or 8, when I got, you know, there's no way I could play out on pitch with them. So they shoved me in goal and hit the ball as hard as they could. And I used to just try and dive around for it. So, and then as I got a bit older and sort of grew a bit, yeah, I started playing out on the pitch. And then my mum's partner at the time was driving down Herne Bay to Safeways, as it was back then. And he went past the local park in Herne Bay and saw a team playing. And he popped over and spoke to a gentleman called Andy Null. And he was the manager of the Herne Bay under-9s, I think it was at the time. And said, could my stepson come along and train? And then that was it, really. Next thing I know, Tuesday, Thursday night, whatever it was, down there training, never looked back. So,
brilliant. So what was the first club or first team that you played for then?
I was signed on to Ramsgate Red Arrows as a kid, but I can't remember actually playing for them. I think it was just training. So Herne Bay under 9s or under 10s was my first actual team that I actually played football for. I followed Herne Bay Youth through, went to Canterbury Eagles for a bit, and then come back to Herne Bay Youth under Rob Allen.
Yeah.
Under 15, sorry. And then, that was the year I broke into Herne Bay Reserves as well. So
you what, at 15?
I was 14 at the time. Yeah, I got into the reserve team at Herne Bay. Jason Leppard was the manager. We had Lloydie, Luke Harvey, and all them sort of playing in there. And me, Danny Lawrence, Steve Gilby, and I can't think. There's a couple of others. Might have been Stacey Davis as well. Yeah, we got called up to play for the reserves. Started playing for the reserves, and then so we were sort of Saturday, Sundays through that period.
So then football started to take your life over.
Yeah, it got a bit serious, and you have the dreams, you're meant to dream. That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to try and follow it. I think any young person should always try and follow it, even if someone says you can't achieve it. And I got my head down. I was fortunate with size at that age. I was quite tall, and I was, I could sort of hold myself enough to be able to play men's football. And I just kept scoring goals. And then, next thing I know, I was 15 years old and got a first team call up to Herne Bay. And I made my debut. I'm pretty sure it was a Friday night game at home down at Winches. And it was Erith Town. And we won 3-0, but I was 2-0 up at one point. And we was 2-0 up, at one point. I'd scored both. And we won a penalty. And I remember I wanted the penalty so bad, but Cy Brown took it. And he hit it at this Stanley Gardens end, and I think he cleared Stanley Gardens and hit Whitstable. It went that far. Bless him. But I just remember, and and then fortunately in the second half I got another opportunity and buried it. And got a hat trick on my debut in first team football. So I always remember that one.
Oh, that's one not to forget. I don't know how to always remember. So how long did you stay at Herne Bay for before you moved on?
So I did the rest of that season sort of floating between reserves, first team, and then playing for the under. We'd gone up to under 18s by then on the Sundays. So that was a sort of a strange season. 1 week I was playing sort of in the reserves. Next week I was on the bench for the first team. Didn't get too much first team time, but I still scored quite a few goals every time I got on, and that, just learning. People like Danny Kedwell were there, Dave Masters. That was good to be around. And then the following season, Danny Kedwell obviously got his big move to Welling, which he thoroughly deserved. And they booked me through into the first team. And it was sort of not a regular, but I was playing a lot more. And I was scoring a lot of goals. I scored a couple of hat-tricks, a couple of doubles, had a bit of a naughty injury in the FA Vars. We were playing, I think it was someone like Epsom and Ewell at home. Mm-hmm. And it was 2-2. Sam Denley, the best volley I've ever seen in front of my eyes. On the turn, hit a volley, like Zidane did in the Champions League. Oh. But further out, put it straight in. Yeah. And then I got subbed on, and scored within about 5 minutes. And then the next thing I know, I turned this geezer and the centre half, and he smashed me straight on the knee. And opened up a few cuts, but the impact was quite nasty. But luckily, I managed to take my weight off it. So I ended up going to hospital, get stitches and stuff, and I think that put me out for about a month. And then, it was sort of slow start until the end of the season, really, for me from there.
Some of those injuries, particularly mid-season, can be really, really hard, can't they?
Yeah, it's part of the game. You have to get on with that. But luckily it didn't do any ligament damage or anything like that. It was just an impact, and just a bit sore. But we got on, and then, like I say, finished that season, and then I saw Robbie Thomas down Wetherspoons in Herne Bay. And we got chatting, and he said, "Why don't you come over to Whitstable?" And it wasn't that I weren't happy at Herne Bay, but there was a few things that had happened, and probably partly my fault. As always, I think everyone knows Kingy well enough that I can cause my own problems. And So yeah, no, I got chatting to Siegs on the phone, and you know, I always hold my hands up. I'm no angel. So yeah, no, I got chatting to Siegs on the phone. He said, "Come down." And yeah, that was the 2006, 2007 season. So when I signed, I was 17, and yeah, we went down there, and that was amazing. You know, that was a feel good factor the moment I walked in, not just for me obviously, but for the club. You know, it felt like something was happening down there. I didn't really know a lot about Whitstable. I had been involved in the Herne Bay Whitstable derby the season before, so I knew the rivalry and stuff. But you know, it was Siegs had gone in there and with Si Halsey, and they were sort of creating something, and yeah, it was a pleasure to get on board with it. So
it was good, wasn't it? So just one thing, Stu, that's always sort of, been a bit of a question in my head. What do you personally consider to be your best position? Because you often seem to be played out wide. And my own feeling is that when you were younger, that number 10 role would have suited you down to the ground.
Yeah, and I think when I was at Whitstable, when I was a bit younger, I was more of a number 10. You know, I weighed about 8 stone wet, so you know, I could run, and I had never had great pace, but I had a couple of yards in me that was always the yards that I needed as a striker. And I was able to play out on the right, come in, and score using my left. I could never do the left to the right, as everyone knows. So I'm the natural centre forward. There's no two ways about that. That is my position. But when I was younger, I was able to adapt just because I had them couple of yards, and was able to put that in my game. But yeah, I would say I'm definitely a centre forward. No doubt about that.
Yeah, good. We'll talk about other clubs going forward, but I put this to Ian Pullman. Ian, what's the best strike partner you ever had? And he said to me, Dave Corey. If I said the same to you, Stu, who was the best strike partner that you had?
It's a hard one to answer because I pissed them all off. so it's like pick the one that didn't like me the most, I guess. Honestly, it's quite hard because I don't know. You know, in non-league football, it's very hard to build that relationship. But the one I suppose I could say that I had the most success with would probably be Ratty down at Foxton. Now he wasn't the most gifted footballer, but I think the two of us combined, his work rate, his passion, his commitment to the cause, freed up a lot of space for me. And I suppose I was a success of his, what won't be classed as success for a striker, but anyone that watched football and had half a brain realised that, I did well because he was so committed to giving 100%,
Well, that's the best compliment you could ever play, and well done. After your time at Whitstable, where did you move on to next?
I went back to Herne Bay, didn't I? No, I went to Ramsgate. Ramsgate. Jim Ward come in, and me and Siegs were talking, and just before I come off the Whitstable point, really, it's gutting really, because I don't know if anyone really ever talks about it, but I wasn't there at the end of the season, so I didn't pick up any of the trophies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't come to the cup final. I didn't play in the other cup final, and I played in the cup final. We won 1-0 or whatever when Marlon hit the top stanchion,
the ball
stuck in it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play in the one down at Foxton where we lost to Thamesmead or VCD, whoever it was, and then I didn't come to the final game where we got the trophy. I'm not in any of the pictures or anything. No.
Oh, that's a gutter.
My own fault. Me being me at the time. Hold my hands up. And but that's I don't have many regrets, but that's one of them. That's one where if I could have one thing I can say about myself, if I could be the 33-year-old man I am today and shake the little bastard I was back then, and then that's certainly something I would have done. Yeah, just shake him and say, "Wake up, boy."
Wow. Well, I've been in your company when you've been out and about, and you certainly knew how to enjoy yourself anyway when you were younger. But
Whitstable Town Football Club's main sponsor is Fibertech UK Limited.
So the Ramsgate situation in Jim Wall. Well, I know Jim well. I mean, I've done an interview with Jim, and he speaks highly of players. He's a good football man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good football man. He's intelligent, but he wasn't a good manager for players. You know, he wasn't a good what's the word?
Man manager.
Man manager. Sorry, yeah, correct. He wasn't. He didn't have one iota of skill in that. And I was a young lad, and you know, it was the wrong move. It was the wrong move, and Siegs told me it was the wrong move, but I'd kind of made up in my head that I could go to Ryman Prem and sort of jump a league where we'd got promoted to the Ryman South. I played sort of a handful of games for you in the Ryman South, scored a few, wasn't playing particularly brilliant, and then I took the move and I spent all year on the bench really. But got a few starts here and there, put the ball in the net when I could, but I hated every minute there, to be fair.
Yeah, and the move then from Ramsgate to
back to Herne Bay.
Back to Herne Bay, yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you stay that time? Because by then you must have been in your early 20s.
I was 20 when I went back to Herne Bay. Yeah. And it was all right. I think Morgo had come in, Barry Morgan.
Yeah.
He had a fresh approach, fresh ideas, some different types of players. Still kept with a few of the local lads, and we had a good team. But we were just very young, and it didn't work out for Morgo in the end. We should have done better than what we did. But the games where you need a bit of experience, which we had when I was at Whitstable, where you could grind a game out, or you had men on the pitch, because we were boys. We were boys in that team, really. And there was games where you need to be a man. And unfortunately, if we went and played a football inside, we turned them and rolled them. But if we went and played someone that banked up and was solid, big and strong, we struggled and we come unstuck a few times. So, unfortunately, it didn't work out for Morgo. I think Si Halsey come in, and I think he might have finished off the end of the season and then started the next. So that's back at Herne Bay.
Your relationship with Si must have been okay, because you'd had him at Whitstable with you.
Yeah, I cocked that one up as well. So at Whitstable, he was definitely an important person to me. He was the guy I could turn around and talk to. Me and Siegs had a really good relationship, and I looked up a hell of a lot to Siegs, and he just let me go and be me. But at times when I be me, sometimes that's lets me down. And Si would always be there to sort of put an arm on the shoulder and just say, "Hey, Kingy, come on, mate." And but when he went to a first team manager, that sort of went, because you can't have that relationship with a first team manager. You have to have that. You have to have that balance, that sort of thing where he's the first team manager, and it sort of changes. And as the season went on, obviously during that pre-season is when I got the injury. So I was 21 that season. That's when I got the injury, and that took me a while to come out of that, to be fair. But mentally, it done me quite a bit, to be honest. And then I got back fit again. So that was 4 months of the season I missed. I come back, and then I was flying. I got myself fit. I just was playing with the injury, but sort of just kept going, and we got to the cup final, scored a hat-trick in the cup final, beat Sevenoaks 3-2, and I think I won the Golden Boot again that year, actually, and it was really good, and then we Herne Bay the following season, so I was still the manager, and that's when I let me get the better of me again, and about 4 months into the season, I didn't agree with a few things, probably threw my toys out the pram when I shouldn't have, and I knocked football on the head come November. So,
all right. Literally.
I just walked away from it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where was the next step for you then?
I walked away. I signed for VCD just to help Keith out. I think it was about April. I got a call from Siegs and Keith, and they said, "Can you help us out for a couple of games? We're a bit short." So I did, but it was only 4 games or so. And then the following season, I didn't play. I didn't play football. And then everyone was saying to me, "What are you doing? You're silly. You're 22 and all this." And as I said, I'm not interested. and stuff like that. And and then I got a call from Cugs down at Foxton, and he said, "Come meet me down in Foxton, have a coffee, let's have a chat." So we had a chat, and he said to me, "Kingy, just walk away from everywhere you knew and everyone that you knew, and just start afresh." And I was like, "I don't know anyone in Foxton or Hive, so let's just go down there and try and start again." So that's what I did.
Blimey. So your adventure in football is sort of like stops and starts, and you're quite honest enough to say a lot of it's down to you.
Oh yeah, it was. There's no denying that. It wasn't all me, but I can hold my hands up and say, honest, I was a big factor in causing my own problems a lot of the time, no doubt about it. But that was up to the age of 23, and then when I signed at Folkestone at 23, I had grown up so much in 2 years. I wasn't getting the yellers, I wasn't getting the reds, I wasn't trying to react to every challenge, react to everything that happened around me, inside and outside of football. And I just went down there and got my head down. And I grew up.
Well, that's fantastic. So did that show in the results and the way that you played?
Yeah, that was the best time I've ever had. That Whitstable first season was amazing because it sort of, put my name up as in local lads scoring goals. But then I went down into the Ryman South, having not played for a year, and to score 47 goals in a season, where I also missed 2.5 months of the season because I had the final operation on my wrist. Yeah, I didn't play from the second week of October until the last game before Christmas, before you go to the Boxing Day and Christmas fixtures. So, yeah, I won the Golden Boot that year, and it was great. We had no money down there, we had no squad, but you had 14, 15 players committed to the cause that run through brick walls for one another, hamstrings strapped up, everything, proper old school, getting the bar after, put all your money back in the club, and we go again the following week.
What was your relationship with Neil like? Good?
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. He was a striker himself, big centre forward, wanted to score goals, hated people, similar to me. When you're on that pitch, he wanted to win, and that's how I was. And he knew that in me, but it was there was so much that I had to calm down and tame. And when I'd got there, I think with all the operations and the step away from football, it was a bit of a reflection, a bit of a wake-up call that you're not indestructible, and all that. And I just went down there and I had everything. The mindset was perfect. And obviously that showed, I had that season, which, put me right back on the map again, where everyone, knew I was playing and scoring. So
was that the season that Cugley went literally the whole season with only using about 14 or 15 players?
That's it. That's the one. Yeah. And we lost in the playoffs to Dulwich Hamlet. Yeah.
Jeez, because his back four, I think, never ever changed, did it? He had the
That's
same.
it. Josh Vincent, Liam Friend, Frankie Chappell, Jack Delo in goal. And then the left back changed between Dicko and Birchie. But Birchie, if he wasn't playing left back, he played left mid. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, he found a couple of gems out the youth system there. So when I was out injured, a young lad called Cade come in, and I don't know what he's doing today because I don't really follow football. But he come up, he stepped up from the reserves or even the 18s, and just anything that sort of come into it just brought straight into what we were trying to achieve. A bit like that Whitstable mentality when I was there. Everyone was on board, everyone committed. And when you have that, it doesn't matter about talent. It doesn't matter about certain other things. If you've got a squad of men committed to the cause, you'll go places, no doubt about it.
Fantastic. Going back to Whitstable, all right, we're chopping and changing, but it's your story.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's your story. What about when you were with Whitstable and we had, during that spell you were with us, we played Deal, and every time we played them, in one season, we beat them 5-4. And
I know, yeah.
That one of the goals that you scored will forever stay in my memory. It was a wet, cold night down at Deal. We were 4-4, and you scored the winner.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
What a game! I mean,
I've got a great picture actually, because it was in the back of the local rag the following week, or on the Thursday. So because the rag come out on the Thursday, and obviously that was a Tuesday night game.
Tuesday night game.
There's me and Siegs hugging each other.
Yeah.
And I didn't play in the first 5-4. Marshy and I think Pretty started that one, and they scored a couple of goals each. And we had Jacko. Do you remember Jacko at the back?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
absolutely nutcase he was, but hilarious. Yeah, he scored, started doing cartwheels and flips and all sorts.
Yeah, he did all sorts, didn't he?
Yeah, he was funny. Yeah, good lad, good character, great character.
See, again, this is the reason I love doing this. You've just thrown a name at me, Jacko. So I thought he was a real character and a good player as well. You know, life goes on and you forget all these little bits and pieces, like yourself. All of a sudden, when you start talking about it, it brings it all back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it brings a smile to your face.
Did you ever play at Whitstable when Sam Denley was? Because Sam was skipper for a while at Whitstable.
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, but you played with him before at Herne Bay, hadn't you?
Yeah, when I was younger at Herne Bay, and yeah.
He was a bit like you've just described, like no nonsense, gives 110%. Will, if someone's in the way, he'll just go through them. Yeah,
there's a big change in football now. As I was sort of in the middle of two differences in football. I started with the men that got in the pub after and drunk all their money, and then I finished with the kids that had a protein shake and went home with their money. And that's football. It's changed. It's changed. It's about your physical and stuff like that now. Is where it wasn't so much before. We all stayed fit, we all trained hard, but there was definitely an element of it's a different game now. It's different.
It is a different game. So, how many seasons did you stay down at Foxton?
So I did that first one, which was the Golden Boot one. Then I started the second one, and everyone knows Folkestone have had issues with the taxman, whatever. So apparently something arose again behind the scenes, and I was absolutely flying. We weren't as a team; we were indifferent, but I was flying. I think I was on nearly 30 goals already by November. I was absolutely flying, and that's all competitions, obviously. And then I got a phone call, and Cug said, "I'm talking to Dover and another, and we got to sell you." And there was no discussion, no nothing. I said, "Oh, right." He said, "There's few people sniffing around. Leave it with me." And that's so they had to cash in on me, as far as I'm aware, to be able to pay the bill and stabilise the club. And obviously no player's more important than the club. I knew that. So I went and met a few clubs and that with him, and ended up signing for Maidstone on December the 1st, or somewhere around there anyway. Yeah.
At the time, you what, 23, 24?
I was 24, 24, yeah.
So still another 5 years of your career to go before we get to the end of this. Well, folks, that's the end of Stuart King Part 1, Part 2 to follow, which will be with us in a few weeks. Well, what an interesting chat that was for me. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And Stuart was very, very open, and we learnt a lot about the man, not only the footballer, but the man as well. So thanks very much, Stuart, and cheers, everyone.
Whitstable Town Football Club's main sponsor is Fibertech UK Limited. They are leaders in traffic control systems and utility services to the traffic communications industry.
Join your host, Tony Rouse, every week on Belmont Banter for news about local football in Kent and beyond.
I do hope that you've enjoyed today's episode of Belmont Banter. Don't forget there's a new episode out every week which comes out on a Sunday night, early Monday morning. And you can leave your suggestions for a guest to invite at the end. And leave a like, and don't forget to pass it on to all your mates. Cheers!